Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Garage Biljon and my 94 Safari build. In the previous episode, you saw me installing the torsion tube with the re-indexed torsion bars. If you missed that episode, I'll put a link for you to follow along. But what we're going to be doing in this episode is I'm going to install the trailing arms, which I've got lying on the bench over there. They still need to get their new bushings, so we'll get that done. And the last thing we need to do is rebuild the drive shafts that I took out. And as you can see, I've got them on the bench here already. This is just the drive shafts themselves. So I've ordered new CV joints, I've ordered new boots, I've ordered new bolts, I've ordered new brackets. So this will be as new when they go back into the car. And then once all of that is done, we'll drop the car onto the floor, and then we'll finally see what my lift has done to it. And I'll get nice clearance on both sides of the car with regards to my tires, so it should look really cool. And then I just need to button up a few things. I need to bleed the brakes. I need to finish the install of the gear lever and the gear selector. I need to hang the exhaust system. And then once that is done, we are ready to take the car for its first test drive in what must be, I think, 5 months. So sit back, relax, and let's get working. All right, now that we have the torque tube under the car, one of the first things I need to do is install what I'm going to call a bump stop down here. And that is this little guy. It needs to sit in there, but because of the rate of angle that I've put into this, it's a little bit more than I had allowance for. So I'm going to use the jack to just push this arm up slightly. Then I'm going to pull out this bolt, and then I'm going to put this guy in, and then we'll have it correctly. So normally when the car sits on its weight, this is not going to be a problem. But because we are now at full droop, I just can't get this little spacer or bump stop, whatever you want to call it. I can't get it in there. So that's what the first thing we're going to do now. They are sitting in their spot. This one is there and that one is there as well. So let's go put the bushes into the trailing arms, and then we can start hanging them under the car. Alright, so I think that these inserts I received are the wrong spec, because I can get the rubbers in, but I can't get the rubbers and this in. Sounds like a familiar story, right? But even in the vise, I can't get them to meet up. So I think that these guys are too big. And if I measure the hole I've got here, where do we get to? That brings me to 37 millimeters. And if I then try and get that 37 millimeters around this rubber, there's no way it goes around. And I have to size it up to 41. So that's like 4 millimeters bigger, and I think that's just too much. So I'm going to check whether there are alternative sizes for this. So I've done the same trick I've done with my previous bushes, and I put this into the freezer. So hopefully when I try to push it in now, it'll go in easier. If not, then I might have to find a different solution, because this is not really working for me. Alright, so I've got it in now, but you can see it's a little bit proud on this side. And I've measured the size here, that's 65 millimeters. That's a little bit more than I have in the car. And then I also still have to add these guys, which will add another 2 millimeters each on both sides. I think that these things are meant for the aluminium arms. That's all I can think of, that they're not meant for the steel arms. I'm going to see if I can get this in the car. I strongly doubt it, and then we'll see from there. Alright, so this is not working. Let me show you. So you can see there is no space here for me to get these swing arms in with those bushes. Which means I'm going to take the swing arms off again. I'm going to take those bushes out. I also noticed that when I assembled this, I put it back upside down. So this needs to be redone as well. So a couple of steps forward today, a couple of steps back. I'm going to post up a question for you guys to help me out with this before I order new Porsche inserts, because they are super expensive. I hope you guys can help me out. As you can see, there really isn't that much difference between old and new, so it should work, but for some reason it's not working. Alright, so let me show you what I did wrong. It's not obvious unless you've had the factory original bearing in your hands. So I'm going to take you through the picture, which I probably should have looked at before. So if you look here, this is the factory bushing that I pulled out of the swing arm. And if you look carefully, there's basically two ridges that you can see. And if you look at the one that I got out of the car, you can see there's only one, which means something's missing. And that is the metal inner sleeve is missing. There should have been 3 parts to this. I thought there was only 2. And if we now go and look at this again, you can see that even though this looks like it's part of the swing arm, it is actually inserted in here, and this is the inner sleeve of the factory bushes. So this needs to come out as well, and once that is done, then this will work. So a special thanks to Chris Madge, one of the viewers of my channel, for helping me out. You saved me 200 euros. You are my hero of the day. Thank you very much. So let's get cutting on this, and then we'll get that out, and then we can get this guy in. So they are both out, the relief cuts worked, so I've got them both out, and no damage to the tube. So I'm going to now clean this up with a wire brush, and then I'll give this a new coating of paint, and then we can get this back into the car. Let's see if this is now easier to get in, which I expect to be. So again, do some silicone grease on all of the surfaces. Make sure it's covered really well, otherwise these guys will squeak and they will start wearing out. So that's number one, and it's a cinch, super easy. One more. And that guy can go in as well. Wow. Thanks again, Chris. That's the way it should look. All right, so let's see if we can get this onto that. I finally got this guy in. This was quite a struggle. I tried many ways. The best way was to just hook it up with one bolt onto the spring plate there, and then just keep on wiggling and wiggling and wiggling until you get this thing aligned. This was quite a dog to do, but it's in now, so I'm torquing it for now to 150 Newton meters. And then once we have it on the ground and I'm at the alignment shop, we'll torque it up to what needs to be, I think, 170 pound-feet, which is quite a lot. So all in, I spent about 3-4 hours getting this side done. You can see I've now got all the nuts and the bolts snugged up, and the bolt through there is also snugged up. Nothing is finally torqued because you need to do that when the car's on the ground. I've also got the correct backing plate on here now with the brake cylinder at the top, not at the bottom as I had it before. Still a couple of things I need to do. I need to get the brake shoes back on, to get the brake drum back on. I need to do the other side, and I need to bring in these drive shafts. But I'm going to do all of that stuff off camera because that's not very exciting for you guys. So this is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching my 94 Safari build. I'm going to clean up my garage now because it's a mess again. And hopefully in the next video, we'll get this car back onto its wheels and maybe even go for a test drive. So until next time, goodbye.